Hello and welcome to day 7 of the week of game plans, and today we're going over the new character, Shanty, what she can do, and what we can do about it. So, my training partner plays this character almost exclusively, so as far as an actual matchup experience goes, this is definitely the character I'm most comfortable talking about while playing against it as Oleander, because that is the matchup we play all the time, and there's some cool stuff that these characters can do. Sometimes they can just like brutalize each other, so it's pretty fun to see that. So let's start off with Shanty and her normals. Let's talk about the neutrals. So Shanty has got stubby normals. So again, you know, as with a lot of the more melee-based characters, she's got some pretty stubby normals. So she's got a couple that move her forward. So the sweep moves her forward, and her 2B moves her forward a lot. And so that can be quite good. But they are otherwise quite stubby. And they often move her forward, which is nice. But they're pretty stubby by themselves. They're not gonna be going very far or doing anything crazy. And even if they do have a lot of movement to them, it's usually in the form of Shanty moving her character forward in some way in order to make the move scary. So a lot of stubby normals, and you can definitely take advantage of that as Oleander, especially in this matchup, because Shanty does have to get in on you. Unlike some of the other characters, like Paprika, that can occasionally sneak in with a teleport, or you know, like other characters like Palm that can get in with the power of a dog behind them threatening you. Shanty has got herself, and that's it, and she's got to figure out a way to get in on you with it. Yeah, so she's got okay air moves, so let's talk about some of the beautiful hitboxes here. So Shanty has got some neat air moves. So this is a serviceable anti-air, a serviceable air-to-air in general, and it's got decent range, and she can cancel it and get some good stuff off of it. This move also decent anti-air move, especially the short hop version, and it's got good hit stop, or it's got good hit stun, so you can usually combo off of it if you hit even somebody who's in the air, and that's really nice. But her jump in is a little slow, so this move has got a good hitbox. And it can hit on either side. It's even got a little bit of a cross-up hitbox at the end there. It can hit on either side, but it's a very high startup move. So she can get it off of a short hop, but it's very tight. And while she does have things like her JB short hop, you can see that it's very high in the air. So all these moves hit pretty high in the air or have a really big startup. So she does have to pick her spots while using them. Even though she is quite good, she is a short hop character, so she's got the short hop. She's got a regular jump, but I believe she misses out on the super jump. She does not get one of those. So the short hop can definitely help her out. It gives her some different options and a lot of good pressure. Again, she's got one of the more powerful pressure tools in the game that we'll get to in a second, the fuzzy guard break. But let's finish off by talking about some of her other interesting neutral options. So we've got the hitboxes here, and we're going to see some of the cool things that Shanty can do with them. So the first one is that her overhead has an evasive, very high, like that. I guess her horns. I was like, there's not even a part of that character model that is a hurt box, but her horns, I guess, are still a hurt box there. But it is incredibly evasive, right? Like, basically the entire character's model itself doesn't have a hurt box there. And then her magic allows her to pancake. Look at how low that is! It's so tiny! So she can evade some stuff for sure with the power of the really high and really low evasive hurt boxes. So that's pretty cool. She can occasionally get through fireball pressure by just flying through it, or she's got this move that puts her below where even grounded fireballs will hit, and then she's got a move that's actually projectile invulnerable that she can use out of it. So she's got the ability to beat out projectiles from a pretty significant distance, right? Like a little bit further than you might expect, certainly further than you would want as the only underside of this matchup. So that's pretty good in neutral. She's got some cool ability to mix up stuff with her magic. So obviously she can bounce around. Like in certain instances, she can go for like some crazy like instant overhead stuff from full screen because you're both here. The Oleander's trying to get some fireball pressure going, and suddenly we're cross-up overheading you from all the way across the entire screen. So she's got some neat stuff. You have to pay attention to where the screen is, because if you're not paying, like kind of like with Paprika, if you're not paying attention to where the screen ends, occasionally Shanty can just like do weird screen things to you and hit you, and it's kind of cool. And she's got some neat options off of her magic, so that she can fly in. She can do like crazy cross-up versus not cross-up stuff based on the timing of when she chooses to use this move. She can make it stay on the same side as you. She can make it cross up. It's her choice. Even from very close up, she can stay on the same side if she wants to. And even from pretty far away, let's see here. Yep, even from pretty far away, she can be on the other side of you, depending upon timing. So it's pretty cool. She's got some neat options there. That move is an overhead, so she can definitely like mix you up with some crazy overhead stuff from ranges that you might not expect, and that allows her to force you to think about things. Even though she does have to get in on you, the options she has makes it so that you have to think about more than one thing, and that's really good. But a lot of her tools are unsafe, so a lot of her magic options are like -6, -8. If you block that, you can jab punish it. If you block a lot of these things, you can jab punish them, and she can't cancel out of her magic options, which are all somewhere around the jab punishable range of minus. So she does have to be careful about that, especially in neutral, because she might want to try to do something that throws you off, or present an option to you that you're then going to have to think about in order to open up other options for her neutral game later on. But those options are often just minus to the point where you can punish them, and if you get punished there, then the threat of that option doesn't feel as powerful either to you, or perhaps more importantly, mentally to your opponent, because when you tried to do it, they beat you and punished you for it, so they're not going to keep thinking about it. They're just going to do stuff. So you have to be careful. While she does have some neat options in neutral and some like crazy stuff that she can just kind of like throw out, and you're just like, wait, hold on, how do I what? You have to be careful, because occasionally like the crazy stuff gets you beat up. So even though she's got some nuts stuff that's super fast and she can be on whichever side she wants to, you have to be careful, because a lot of it's minus, and you can't really, like, only spacing certain things can occasionally make it so that you're not punishable. So yeah, her neutral is good, especially backed up by magic, but it's not great. The stubby normals aren't great. The punishable magic isn't great, but the situational anti-airs aren't great either. I guess we didn't really talk about this, but that move leaves a little bit to be desired compared to like looking at the Palm and Velvet hitboxes we saw. That is a very low vertical anti-air. And it goes forward, which is nice, and her dash forward is also good, which is nice, so you can threaten a pretty significant horizontal range with it, but you have to be careful. She's got some gaps in that neutral. The pressure, however, the pressure is nuts. So clearly, Shanty is the glass cannon character of this game. So, Palm is like the setup character, even though she's got low life. Tianhua is like the better than you, which is why she needs to have less life character. That's not really glass cannon-y because of how safe a lot of Tianhua's stuff is. Shanty is that glass cannon character, right? If she hits you, she is brutalizing you with damage. She is easily able to 3-hit you in certain situations. Like this overhead, is like okay damage starter, but the jump attacks, she just like into the magic. She does so much damage with her magic if she wants to, and that's not even the coolest thing she can do with her magic, but the magic allows her to just keep a combo going for a long time, get a ton of corner carry, do way too much damage. It's great. So, yeah, Shanty's got a bunch of lows. She's got all 3 of those are lows. Plus, she's got a stance low, so she can do, 3 lows into another low. And that's cool. She still has overhead mix-ups off of this, which is super important. So if she goes and then goes for a magic mix-up afterwards. So if we just force Oleander to block here for a second to make this easier. So Shanty's obviously got low, low, low. Please block everything. So she's obviously got low, low, low. And she can stance cancel these things even on block. We are still just like... Oh, okay, it's not going to happen because I'm not technically the bot. Oh, that's obnoxious. Whatever. So, she's got the ability to cancel all that stuff and go for another low there. She's got the ability to go all 3 of those lows and then go for an overhead there. She can do her fly over here and do overheads like that and go for cross-up overheads. She's got all kinds of cool options off of that. So she's got a bunch of lows, all of which still threaten an overhead, so that's super scary. She's got a cancelable overhead, so she can do a bunch of things. She's got 4-6C, so she can, which means she can choose to start it by moving away from you or moving towards you, and we already know that's got that evasive hurt box, and she can cancel it. So if she holds the button, it just gives her the evasive hurt box and doesn't throw the move out, but she can move away from you and do the move, and it's going to go back in, and it can go back in from like an unbelievable range, like a range where you're not thinking, oh, she moved back and now I'm still in trouble. No, you're still in trouble. Or, the same thing here, she can go from an unbelievable range for an overhead. So that can be scary. And obviously she can cancel it and choose not to do it. But more importantly, I think, let's go back to middle screen here. More importantly, she can cancel it on whiff or, on startup into magic. So she can go for the move and then go to magic. So while she's still threatening this overhead that, while itself is unsafe on block, has got the ability to cancel it, she can also just threaten the overhead, go low. That is hard to react to. What about if you don't feel like being on this side? What if you want to overhead the other side? That's also really hard to react to. So now, her overhead, in addition to being an evasive hurt box, is actually a 3-way mix-up. It's not, oh, are you blocking the overhead? And, am I going to actually just, not go for the overhead? You've got, am I going to go for the overhead? Am I going to cancel it? Am I going to cross you up? Am I going to cancel into low? It's so scary. So she's got this really awesome, if the overhead was just, am I going to cancel it or am I not? It would be strong, but it wouldn't be really good. But when she does this move and she's got magic and she can just actually go low instead, it becomes very powerful. So you have a lot of things you have to worry about, and she can play off of that very well. Her magic, yeah, we already talked about that. It provides strong corner carry. The thing with Shanty is she has to ration out her magic. Does she want to use it to do a bunch of damage in the corner? Does she want to use it to bring you to the corner with a lot of corner carry? Because she's one of the characters in the game that can full corner carry you. She just has to use magic to do it. Does she want to use it while she's in pressure to cancel out some of her moves, or go into her sweep into magic is actually plus on block and allows her to restart her strings. So she can use a magic to keep a string going and be plus in a spot where she normally wouldn't be able to. So she can use the magic to be plus, even though a lot of her actual neutral magic moves are minus. And she's got all kinds of stuff, right? We talked about cross-up wall cling. We talked about, we haven't done fuzzy guard break, but basically she's got the same one that a bunch of other characters do, which is if she comes down on you with a button, she can immediately short hop jump JA, JB, and that will hit you if you're trying to block high into low there, and it's super powerful. So it's quite good. Unfortunately, Shanty does, again, suffer from, if you block, or if you just get hit low, there, the JA will then miss, and then you just whip JA in front of your opponent, and that's not a good thing. But again, trying to beat the JC by intentionally getting hit by it is a fool's errand, and you will get exploded for doing that once your opponent realizes that you're actually trying to use that as a legitimate option to beat the fuzzy guard break if you're going for it. And they're not always going to go for it, right? Sometimes the fuzzy guard break isn't actually a fuzzy guard break. It's the standard, like, I'm going to push this button and then go low. And of course, if you're trying to block that low, you're just going to get demolished by a JC starter. So the fuzzy guard break, very good. You should use it. And her throw is also quite good, unlike some other characters like Arizona, who kind of just get the throw and that's it. Shanty gets full combo off of it. She can do whatever she kind of wants. She can, let's see here, I think she can do... Yeah, and then keep going. So even though the throw itself is going to lose her ground bounce, so she can't bring you into the air, JC you, and bounce you off the ground anymore. She still has the ability to do a wall bounce into a full combo. Shanty also does have the ability to stagger her aerial attacks and bring you back down to the ground. So if she goes, let's see here, like that, yeah, she can actually hit you, which is pretty cool. I'm not good at it, but you can see, there you go. You're able to get a full combo off of that. So even without her ground bounce, she's got air options that allow her to keep going with her combos, and she can do that even mid-screen, which is nice. And so that's quite powerful. And so that keeps her pressure strong. She can just get good mix-ups off of everything. She can go for good stuff off of like anything. Her throw allows her to, like, if you don't feel like getting a big combo off the throw, that actually leaves you plus. So just throw into game 3 magic is an option if you're running low on magic. So Shanty's got a lot of cool stuff she can do with her pressure and a lot of choices she gets to make, and she can easily just explode you with damage off of a hit. It's great. On defense, her only reversal move is actually going to be her super attack. So if she doesn't have that, she doesn't really threaten anything. But unlike Arizona, Shanty's is more like Paprika in that she gets something off of this even mid-screen. So obviously Arizona will blast you out of the corner if you're in the corner, or will just basically reset neutral always if she only uses 1 meter, whereas with Paprika you get this nice hard knockdown, even though it's not a true reversal. Shanty takes the best of both of those worlds, and if you get hit mid-screen by this, that is a hard knockdown, and Shanty stays close enough that she gets legitimate mix off of it, right? She gets to go back in and do stuff off of it. It's not a reset to neutral. You are minus there. Shanty is still close enough to press a button. It's not a good time for you. It's Shanty's turn, and she can't do like short hop pressure off of that, but she can just keep up her mix up and use magic and keep it going. So she gets kind of the best of both worlds. She's close enough to continue pressure even mid-screen after doing a single super, and it gives her the hard knockdown that doesn't reset neutral or anything. It's great. It's a true reversal. So that's nice, but it is her only real reversal option. So outside of that, she is very glass cannon-y feeling, because while she does have options here, she's got to work for them. So obviously, the ability, or even just the threat to, while in the corner, to just, let's see if we can do this, to hop up and then just be at the top of the screen. I mean, obviously Oleander can 6A this, but she can do that. She threatens being on the other side of the screen, right? So she can immediately get out of this corner situation if you give her the opportunity. So you have to be very careful about that, because she can do that. This move puts her super low to the ground, so she can go under some of your pressure. So again, she's kind of got that same thing where I believe this can beat out Oleander 5A jab pressure and some other buttons occasionally because they just don't hit the ground low enough. So she can sort of sneak out of the pressure with that, and then do whatever to get out of it. She can even just like cancel it immediately and then do whatever she wants to. So, cancel it into getting the heck out of there. It's pretty cool. So she does have some options. Her magic gives her some nice mobility that she's able to threaten to occasionally just get out of jail free, but you have to be very careful because her actual true reversal options are quite limited, and you have to use them well in tandem with each other. But Shanty is certainly one of those characters that threatens the backdash into button thing in the corner because she can just extend her invincibility or her crazy hitboxes, right? Like the Oleander goes for a jab to make it so that you can't use the overhead, but you backdash into overhead, which makes the jab miss, and suddenly you're making her whiff her buttons, and she's not going to be prepared for that, and so the pressure sort of breaks down. You've got all kinds of little options that are okay, but nothing to write home about, which kind of makes her this glass cannon character where if she hits you, she explodes you, and if she's getting hit, she doesn't have a great option to deal with it, even though she does have some defensive ability to deal with it. So how are we going to use this to our advantage to try to beat out the Shanty? Well, the first thing we want to do is, again, similarly to Palm, Shanty starts off quite a bit weaker and then becomes stronger as she gains magic, which she does over time. So you've got two really good options here, I think. The first one is to press. So obviously, your standard, dash forward A is tough for Shanty to beat here. It's going to beat a lot of her options. It's going to be safe if she tries to jump over you. It's good. Do that a lot. But in addition to that, Oleander has got the ability to back off and try to get some magic quickly. Without magic of her own, Shanty doesn't have a great way to punish the up back there. You still have enough screen space that even taking up the screen space isn't a huge deal yet. So a lot of times what Shanty's going to want to do is back off as well and use it as an opportunity to gain some magic. But when she does that, you can use your teleport, the D-teleport, to just get in and hit her. And especially if you throw a fireball, like throw a slow fireball, you can get to a point where even if she blocks it, because she did a shorter version of it, so she's able to actually block your teleport in time, the fireball is going to cover you. It's going to keep you plus, and if it hits her, the fireball is going to combo. It's going to make it so that you recover in time to hit a jab and do a combo. It's actually one of the combos that was in my combo video because I used it so much against my my friend that I considered it to be worth putting in as tech against characters that I've played against to know enough against to put in tech, and that was pretty much Arizona and Shanty and a little velvet thing that I did that was fun. So yeah, you've got that. And while Shanty's Yarr does beat projectiles, it loses to the invincible teleport, so she can't get through all of it. Now, if you're using other teleports, you have to be careful. Shanty's Yarr has an enormous cross-up hitbox. So if you just try to do this, chances are you just got staggered, even with the fireball there, because it's going to beat out the fireball and still have a hitbox and hit you with the stagger, and then suddenly your haha gotcha from full screen because you tried to Yarr turns into 2,000 damage in your face, and that's not where you want to be. So the deep teleport is definitely the way to go with fireball backup. You can play a ranged game that Shanty does have to respect because you get in for free if she tries to go for something like magic gain there. So you can play kind of a fireball game against Shanty at the beginning especially, or if you're at far enough range for her to just not be able to really threaten a big swingy projectile invulnerable move. So that's nice. Then Obviously, the pressure, like, she doesn't have great options against this pressure, so you can kind of start something and try to get, you know, like, pressure string into jab, or just go for a crazy overhead, or go for the triple low. And once you get the pressure going, Shanty is gaining magic while that's happening, of course, because she gains it over time. But if she's in pressure, again, she's a glass cannon, so momentum is super important. So if you're the one pressuring, you're the one at advantage, and that's a big deal, especially at the beginning of the game before she's got meter for reversals, and basically just has to eat whatever pressure you send her way. Next, in the middle of the game, it's going to look quite a bit more like this. So from here, you have to be careful. The air fireballs are quite good because you can double jump cancel them and block afterwards, which is nice. But you do still have to be careful. Shanty does have several projectile invulnerable moves. She's even got one that can kind of play this cross-up game against you if you're in the air. So her quarter circle back cutlass, or sorry, her quarter circle forward C cutlass, there we go, lol. Her C cutlass, quarter circle forward C, can cross up. So if you're throwing a fireball and then trying to jump, she can actually play this mix-up game with you where at certain ranges it's going to stay in front, and at certain ranges it's going to go behind, and it's got that enormous aerial hitbox, so you have to be very careful. It is going to hit you. You are going to have to guess, and if you're way up there in the sky like that, it's quite a bit more difficult to punish the cutlass, even though it is quite minus. So she gets a little more option there. She actually has a pretty solid counterplay option to you just jumping and throwing fireballs and double jumping, which is she can force you to make a cross-up guess there if you're throwing the fireballs too high. That is also projectile invulnerable, by the way, so even if you're throwing them low enough, that doesn't take away her ability to do that, but if you're throwing them too high, it's free, because she doesn't even have to like worry about dealing with a fireball beforehand. And so she's actually got a pretty solid mix-up against that. So you do have to be careful in those ranges, or the ranges right around here where you think it's safe to throw a fireball, but you can actually just jump over it and get a huge punish, or even like go forward with her overhead here. That will bring her over the fireball and then have her overhead you, and that's not good. She can get past it by going under it with her D magic. Like she can stance underneath it and then just charge at you. So she's got all kinds of cool options to beat your fireballs. So while you can play the fireball game, you have to play it smart. You have to weave in some other options somewhere here and there just to keep her honest, so that she's not trying to projectile invuln through a bunch of stuff, because occasionally it's not a fireball, it's just a big fat button that she's got to deal with. So weaving your normals into your pressure here is very important. When you're playing the keep away game against Shanty, and when you're playing the up close and personal game, you have to be aware that this jab can be beaten by magic, and I believe it also can be beaten by the overhead if you're a little slow. So the evasive hitboxes or hurtboxes are something you have to worry about. You might have to start weaving different things into your pressure that you might not normally in other matchups in order to get hits here. But she doesn't have a lot to say about you pressuring her, and even if she push blocks you, you usually just wind up in a position where you can finish your string with a couple of moves that move you forward, and now she's in a position where none of her stubby normals hit you. So that's what you want. At endgame, be wary of level 2 reversal into a bunch of magic. Level 2 reversal into a bunch of magic is going to be an unbelievable amount of your health, and you can easily die from half health or even higher than half health because you didn't realize that you were in danger there. So you have to be very careful about that. Obviously, if you get Fred, that's a big deal, and you can just destroy Shanty. She doesn't have real reversal options. But the thing against Fred endgame that you have to worry about, which you might not have to worry about with other characters, is that Shanty has quite a few projectile invulnerable options that she can throw out to beat Fred moves. So the standard, like, if you're over here and you throw out the Fred hand into teleport mix-up, are you going to be behind or are you going to be in front? She can just do a projectile invulnerable move and fly through that, or she can go into stance and go under some of these things. So you have to be careful. Some of the setups that work against the rest of the cast, they just don't work here. So certainly have to be more careful with Fred against Shanty than you do against some other characters, because she does have ways to contest it. She has fully projectile invulnerable moves that she gets a full combo off of. And then you have to deal with the fact that your Fred just got stuffed. So you have to be a little more careful in the end game against a Shanty that's still loaded. Another big thing is that if you call out Fred and Shanty gets a hit against you with a bunch of magic, she can timer scam the heck out of Fred. And while she may not be able to timer scam the heck out of you in general, like Oleander or Tianhua can, Shanty can basically do a combo and then super you with magic, and then super you and gain more magic, and then extend that combo, and she can burn an entire 20-second Fred meter with one combo. So she's actually got some interesting stuff, even though she isn't great against dealing with Fred because her reversal options aren't very effective against Oleander plus Fred. So weaving in some buttons there in addition is important. She's got an answer to each of them. If you press Fred and you're trying to be safe that way, she can throw out some projectile invulnerable moves or some evasive hurtbox moves that are just going to catch you. And if you're trying to push a button, that gives her the opportunity to go for reversal super and make it so that Fred is no longer covering that. And suddenly you're just taking this gigantic combo that burns all your Fred timer. So Shanty is quite good at dealing with Fred timers, so you do have to be careful about that. So you want to weave in a safe amount of normals against her plus Fred in order to make it work. And of course, if she's got you in the corner, it's not a good time. She's got all kinds of options that she can use. She's got crazy like short hop mix-ups and magic cancel mix-ups and stuff that you just like don't want to have to deal with, but you do. So as the glass cannon, if she's in the corner at the end of the game, she'll have like some decent stuff to do against Fred, which is not what you want to hear. But against you, like she can just push whatever she wants to. Everything's gonna work. The one thing that Shanty really has to worry about, though, is that Oleander has one of the best anti-airs in the game. It's super fast. It has an enormous hitbox, and you can beat out some fake short hop attempt pressure by just throwing that out, right? If she's trying to like go in on you with some goofy stuff, right? If she's trying to like short hop into whatever. Oleander has a much easier time dealing with that than a lot of the cast because of her incredibly good anti-airs. So just be wary that this is a really strong option that can beat out a lot of stuff. It's a pretty fast button in its own right, and it can catch some of the crazy, less real Shanty pressure that she might be going for in order to try to just close that around. So that is kind of the basic game plan against the brand new character Shanty in this game. And at this point in time, I think we're going to be transitioning away from week ofs where we go over some random little thing and try to focus specifically on that. And we're just going to start playing games, and we're going to go into what I consider to be like the meat and potatoes of getting better at the fighting game, which we haven't really done yet. So I've like sort of been enticing myself by staying at this position where I'm about to get a whole lot better, and I haven't done it yet. It's time to end that. We're going to play the basic, like probably for at least a month, maybe more. We're going to be playing the way that I really think you get better now that we've got all the basics taken care of, which is we're going to play a bunch of matches. We're going to review those matches to see some obvious mistakes we make. We're going to ask some other people to review some of those matches to see obvious mistakes that they see. And then we're going to go in, we're going to grind out some stuff, whether it be in training mode or just against other players again, trying to focus on fixing these problems. And you'll still see in those moments that when we're focusing on something we're not good at, we're focusing on, not going for the overhead at the end of all of our strings. Maybe we're just going, like, no matter what we do, there it is. Or if your opponent knows that you're going to do that every time, they're going to destroy you. And even though it is a mix-up and they have to figure out when you're going to do it, if they know that you are going to do it, that hurts you a lot. So, maybe that's an issue that we have. And we need to not overhead every time because we just want to do stuff. We have to start working on just backing off. This is a great position for Oleander against almost the entire cast. And they can't really do too much about it. So that's a free teleport to get into a position where you're much better suited to fight than they are. So start adding that in. Start using the 6B. Start throwing in pressure resets with your +2 chapter trap. There's just all kinds of other things, so maybe you have to do that. And when you're trying to fix those things, and we will see those things that we need to fix, and they'll be all over the scale, from neutral to pressure to defense. When we're trying to work on those things and do better with them, we will do worse at everything else because we're trying to focus on one thing. But once we have that on our off of our mental stack and into our basic autopilot gameplay, we will just continue to get better and better. And as your autopilot gets better, your ability to adapt to the few things left that are able to beat your autopilot and frazzle your game plan is going to improve significantly because you're going to be able to adjust to those few things left that can just win much more quickly. My opponent has one of two options here to beat my game plan. This is the one they're choosing. Time to counter it. And that's how we're going to start getting really good. And that's pretty much going to be what we do at this point in time. Like, the thing we have left to do in order to get good now and actually try to go from being just kind of a casual player that can beat some people with our limited experience into an actual threat is just going to be lots and lots and lots of playing and then looking back and fixing up the things that are wrong as we go. And that is going to be our game plan for the next month or so for ourselves. I hope to see you there.